PDUs2Go.com, and I'm always glad to have my colleague and friend here, David Nour from the Nour Group, and all of you here. So I'm glad that you came back. Some of you are new and some are old timers now. Wow, some are this number 4, our 4th session together. So anyway, as we always do, just kind of let us know using the chat section where you are joining us today. Or if you can do like I did, like edit, like rename and put where, like Chris has Auburn, Georgia, not to be confused with Auburn, Alabama, or I'm sorry, guys, I'd have to dismiss him from the community because that doesn't jive with Alabama. Roll Tide.
As my wife says, I'm a bull.
Okay, all right, I get it. So, yeah, so some Denver, Charlotte, Wisconsin, Auburn. Is it still snowing in Wisconsin, Illinois? So those of us who are in the South, we're experiencing our tornado season. So Atlanta, the Atlanta area got hit yesterday. I'm out of Alabama near Huntsville, and we had it today. So if David or I happen to disappear, don't panic, we'll be back. So
maybe
we might get knocked out.
I understand you're sending that weather up north to us.
We are just moving it on north.
Now remember, duck and cover, duck and cover.
Duck and cover, yeah. So anyway, we want to go ahead and start because if you've been with sessions with us, there's always so much more to talk about and share than we have time for. So we like to be mindful of the session, this 1-hour session. Again, I'm Jennifer Bridges, founder of PDUs2Go.com, and David Nour has been my colleague and friend for a very long time, and this is his 11th book. So thank you for participating in the pre-order of Curve Benders special, this pre-order and special offer. And so we look forward to diving deeper into Curve Benders. And this is the first of 3 sessions that we'll be having. Some of people have already messaged that you've got to drop off early. No worries, you know, we record those and we'll make those available. Just a quick plug because people always ask, we'll post the PDU instructions on the event page. So no worries for that. And with that, David, I'm going to go ahead and let you start because I know we have a lot of content to cover today.
Yep.
So I'm going to mute myself and hand it over to you.
Perfect. I also muted a couple other folks. So thanks for that digital etiquette. So great to be with you. I want to echo Jennifer's comments. Thanks for investing in the Curve Benders book. This is part of the bonus program. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Jennifer, if you could just confirm that you can in fact see my screen, that's always a good. Can you see my screen okay? You're muted, but Denise, okay, good.
Yes.
So, okay, so
Yes.
First and foremost, everything we're gonna do together, everything around this course, everything around this bonus program, just a couple quick housekeeping notes, everything is gonna be within this environment. So Nour forum, and if you just go to Nour group, I'm gonna put it in the chat as well. If you may wanna bookmark this page. Yeah, bookmark this page. I'm going to put it right in the chat. So that is our Nour forum community. You can just go to nourgroup.com/forum. That will also get you there. Once you're here in the main home page, left-hand side, navigation under courses, you can see Curve Benders for PMPs. We're standing up probably several courses every month. So you're going to see this list grow. And thank you in advance for your grace and for patience, because we're also trying to figure out this community. But this is where you're going to come. This is where you're going to come join us. And within here, you have an activity feed. You have a table of content on the left-hand side. You have invites that Jennifer and I can invite others to join us. You have a members list, so you can see who all is here. A little about the About section, as well as, again, the topics. So I know many of you, for example, are curious about your PDU reporting. There's a reason that's the top topic. So Jennifer will post specific instructions for you on how you can get your PDU credits. I know those are critical. And then events, we're doing 3 live events. So this is today, next Tuesday, they're all the same time, 3 o'clock Eastern, Tuesday the 18th, 3 p.m. Eastern. So we're doing 3 of what we call these learning sprints. They're all going to be an hour. They're all going to be on Zoom, exactly like we're joining here.
Yeah, David, I would like to add something while you're on this section of the course and the events.
Yes, ma'am.
So one thing that we want to do is for each of the live sessions, we want to continue the conversation, because as you can see, every one of these in the chat on Zoom, people are asking great questions, and we want to take those questions here so we can maintain those, because as you can see, of almost 200 people in different time zones, not everyone can attend. So that gives people to be able to watch the recording or participate live and continue the discussion. So does that make sense to everybody? So on this event page in the forum, you know, ask questions. Tell us what was your best insight or whatever.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jim, for that. So absolutely. Anything around the specific events, jump in here with questions, comments. You also, as we'll go through the content, left-hand side, table of content, each section. So there's the goal. If you haven't already, please make the time to go through. I've captured ideas. Within sections, there are individual lessons. So for example, within the goal, here's the key ideas in the curve benders. That's one of the original illustrations that I came up with,
Are
right?
you showing that? Are you sharing that screen?
Yes, ma'am.
We can see it.
Yep. Are you not able to see it?
No, maybe
Okay.
share a different screen.
Or can you
Okay.
bring it up on yours? So that way, if you can bring up, just bring up the community and the course. Zoom has not been very kind to me lately. So if you want to go ahead and share your screen, I'm bring up table of contents on the left-hand side.
Okay, let's see. Let me get there.
Dr. G is also here, always nicely dressed. Hello, sir. We're also a video culture. We're all amongst friends. So if you've been here a while, if you can turn your video on, would love to see you. There you go. So Jen, go ahead and click on top, back to the network, very top left corner. So you're gonna keep going again, home. So you're gonna end up in the home kind of community. This is where everything is. Left-hand side, click on courses. And you're gonna see, as I said, multiple courses here. Just click on curve benders for PDUs. That's for PMPs. That's the one that we're in. Everything that I'm gonna show, everything that we're gonna do, when in doubt, come in here. It's gonna be an activity feed. For example, I'm recording this session. I will put up this recording within that event, within that group. Go ahead and close this one, Jen, if you could. And on the left-hand side, click on table of contents, the second item. So what I was explaining here is you've got sections, right? So the first section is the goal, then the information sessions we've done, then the learning sprints, right? Within each section, you have individual lessons. Jen, go ahead and close that for me if you could, please. So click on goal, and I've taken the time, close this and click on goal. So I've taken the time to kind of give you an overview of what this section is about. Within each section, then at the bottom, there's some lessons. Go ahead and click on the first one. So that's one of the first drawings of the idea several years ago. So I talk about where the idea came from. Go ahead and scroll down. And then here's some things, here's some key ideas. And then there's a video, right? So watch this video. And then at the bottom of that, there's a homework, right? Share in the comment section below what 3 ideas most resonates with you, whether you've only read an introduction or an entire chapter. So Maria, my favorite Maria's jumped in. Claire, the awesome Claire has jumped in. Dana has jumped in. It'd be awesome as you go through each lesson. I promise you that you'll see that there's a homework section. Watch the video, read what I've captured. And then right there where that gray stripe is, go back up, Jen, go back up. There's it right there. Let's move on to the next lesson. So go ahead and click on the next one. There you go. 3 ideas that are going to be most relevant to your career trajectory. Read that section, watch this video. Guess what? Homework. Homework. Grade yourself on the 5 items. Read chapter 2 about 15 forces. Comment below. So if you scroll down, Maria has jumped in. She is so cool. Maria is going to get a star student, right?
She's trying to be the #1 student here.
I love it. And she doesn't even have the book yet. That's the coolest part. She doesn't have the book yet. So there's homework there. If you could jump in, you're going to learn as much from each other as you are going to learn from me, and there's some great insights. Go ahead and go to the next one. So there you go. You can see there's lessons. Here's how to internalize, synthesize, and apply some of the key ideas. So I'm also giving you tips. I'm giving you coaching as we go. So the way I read, Jen, hold on right there. The way I read is, what does this person say? So what? Now what? What does this person say? What does it mean? What does it mean to me? This is how you're really going to learn. I already know this stuff. I've been thinking about these content for 4 years. My goal in writing, my goal is sharing this course is for you to improve your condition, improve your world. So the best way to do that is get insights out of what I've captured. I also talk about what I call the elevator ride. There's a video of a LinkedIn Live that I was interviewed for that you can watch. And guess what? Homework, right? What's the big idea? What do you believe it means? What does it mean to you? Scroll down. And I want you to capture in each Maria's right there, So in each section, go ahead and capture kind of the idea. And then as you're ready, you click on the next, go ahead and go to the next one. So these are series of sections. Now we're in a new section. And you can see that there's 3 lessons in here. So in last month, we did a series of information sessions. I've captured all of those. Jen, go ahead and click on Intro to Career Accelerants. There you go. So there's the key ideas. I got to tell, I'm really proud of this, guys. I worked last weekend to put, I promised Jennifer Bridges that I would show up and do this right and do this well. And so there's the images, there's content, scroll down.
Everybody give David some hearts.
Thank you. We need some hearts, right? There's the video, right? Video. And then think about these questions. Now it's your turn. By the way, word of caution. So if you scroll down, look forward to our discussions below. So in each of those, again, I don't want you to just be a passive consumer of this, because I believe there's real opportunities for you to learn and grow. You paid for the book. By the way, without the book, without the bonus program, this is a $500 course. So I want to make sure that you get value out of the content, out of our interactions. And the best way to do that, the reason we're taking the time to show this, is really to go through and learn each of these. So go ahead, Jen, go ahead and close. Go ahead and close this section, top right corner. So you've got the goal section with 3 lessons. You got the information sessions we did last month with 3 sessions. We're now in the learning sprint. So go ahead and click on the learning sprint, the first one. Close this and do me a favor, click on learning sprint. So the learning sprint talks about the 3 sessions we're going to do, right? Again, the first one is visible to you as we go through it. I don't want to overwhelm you. I'm showing you one at a time. So the first one, go ahead and click on your personal market value. That's the first one, and that's where we are today. So in the personal market value, I described the section. Here's what they are. Look at that. Download this handout. We're going to get to that in a second. Jen, hold on. We're going to get to that in a second. Go ahead and scroll down. Then there is read the Curvebender's book. If you have the book, the sections that I'm referring to is page 34 to 40. So part of this lesson is in the book, pages 34 to 40. If you have the book, it's in depth in those pages. Then I ask you a series of questions. That's your turn. And then word of caution. So what I want to do is introduce you and really take us through it, that series of handouts. So Jen, if you could click on that handout, download this handout. Bingo. Look how beautimous, you people. Look how beautimous.
Wow, impressive.
Okay, go to the very top. Go to the very top for me, please. You're going to stay with me. So please, +1. Nour, this approach is different than anything I've ever been seen before. Very cool. Denise, thank you. So the goal is introduce you to the concepts, reinforce the concepts with text, with video. I get adult learners learn very differently, right? So there's content, and for each of these learning sprints, the next 3 weeks, same idea. I'm going to introduce it. There's going to be a handout, and this handout, please, if you can come here this week, get caught up on the homework. Today, we're going to go through this handout, and what I want you to do is be an active learner with me. My request is this material is copyrighted, so it's for you, but please do not distribute it outside of our discussions, outside of our work here together. So this idea of personal market value, I would highly encourage you to go back and watch the intro video session we did, so I don't repeat that. So there's 3 sections. Basically, what I decided, what I thought a lot about is companies make certain moves to increase their market value. I believe there's opportunity before we start, but I'm going to set the stage. There's an opportunity for you to also both recognize what your market value is now, as well as make definitive moves to improve, enhance, elevate that personal market value. That's what this session is about. That's what this breakout is about. That's what this handout is about. So Jennifer, let me pause. Questions, comments from you, from the audience?
Yeah, I have a suggestion. And before we start, give a thumbs up if everybody's with us, you're following, everything's cool, everybody's with us. We don't have a thumbs up. Do y'all know how to do a thumbs up? Okay,
reactions, bottom of the page. There we go.
Okay,
Claire,
awesome.
thank you. Mark is giving you the old traditional thumbs up, right? That's
Yeah.
always very cool. Dr.
Okay,
G,
so
Jim Sinclair, very nice. Look at that. Dean.
yeah, so one suggestion, just to get familiar with the community in the forum, while David is doing this, you might want to go ahead and, like I have, pulled up the session and this particular one, and then you can ask questions there or put comments. So I don't want it to get too confusing, but we do that in some sessions, and therefore you get to follow along in the section.
And if you could just stay there, Jennifer, please. And Jennifer and I are there every day. We're in this community. We're in this course. By the way, because you're in this course, anything we post in the activity feed of the course will also show up in your own activity feed. So it's not like you have to go somewhere else to see all that. The system personalizes all that for you. My request continues to be, please ensure you have a complete profile. Please make sure you do the work. You will get out of this session what you put into it. And if you read, if you watch the videos, if you do the work, I think it will be much more fruitful for you than if you passively just absorb it. We're also going to do a couple of breakout sessions in these things. So I want you to be an active learner of this content. Let me pause. Questions, comments, Mark, Dr. G, Denise, Charles, Jim, Dean, Claire, anything from you guys? Questions, comments, insults. As long as you don't drag my Middle Eastern heritage into it, we'll remain friends. Okay? Any questions? Any comments before we start?
David, this is Laura. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned the book. Is the book coming through mail, or is it going to be an e-book?
The book is everybody's purchased the book
Mm-hmm.
is been shipped through USPS. So depending on when you bought it, I'm pretty sure not all, but most, we're still getting orders that come in, and every day I personalize them and I get them out. Yeah,
and to clarify, David and Laura, the special we order was like a pre-order, so the book had not been actually released. So the book was released on the 27th. So yeah, so all of our orders came in early, and then when you purchase, it gives an option of how fast you'd like to receive it. So standard shipping, expedited shipping. So
okay, I'll just keep an eye out for it then.
okay.
I think I just did standard.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so yeah, it does come through the mail, and Dana was kind enough to mention it came pretty fast. Yeah, I try to get all of them out the same day. You guys would chuckle. I've got teenagers as kids. I've got them on payroll. right? They're opening up boxes. They're putting in, book plates. I'm signing them. They're boxing them back up. It's hysterical. It's like Lucy with the chocolates. It's just
They
slow
gotta
down,
earn their
slow
keep.
down. That's exactly right. Have you seen my son eat? Oh my Lord, it's ridiculous. All right. Any other questions? Any other comments before we jump in?
Great questions.
Okay. So the handout. I teach the way I think I'd like to learn. And by that, I mean, that's interesting. Now what? What do you want me to do with this content? How will I be better off because of this content? So if you have the handout, what I did was I broke the personal market value into its 3 distinct phases. And as Jennifer will be kindly slowly scroll down, what I want to do is, and if you have the handout, even better. But while we're together, I want to scroll down and talk about some of these things, and then we're going to pause for you to reflect on them. I think it's really important for you to think. We don't make enough time to think. We don't make enough time for reflection. And if you don't learn anything else from me today, you need to understand this. Your personal market value starts with a deep, candid reflection. Where am I today? Where do I want to get to? What does that now to next journey look like? So capture for me somewhere in whatever notes, and I'm a content presenter, capture for me somewhere, make time, create time for candid reflection. That's going to be a common thread that we're going to go through. And I'm an active learner. I have the material, right? I printed it out right here in front of me, right? So in the margin somewhere, right, make time for kind of proactive, candid reflection. That's really important. So if I start with the foundation, and I really want you to think about a house that's built on sand, a house that's built on quicksand, a house that's not built on a solid foundation is going to crumble. I'm trying to tell you, I've coached 68 senior executives in the last 6 years. If you don't have a stable foundation, the rest of it is going to suffer. The rest of it, you're going to struggle. So I started with something called the foundational rings. And within foundational rings, there are 3 ideas. So let's start with the core. The core is really, think of it as your ecosystem of family and personal friends. And all I'm asking you to do is start with, how would you describe this ecosystem? Is it, and this, I know this pandemic, and I actually need you to, you can't ignore this pandemic, but don't let it impact the holistic, the big picture, right? So maybe pre-pandemic, do you have a stable home? And you don't have to answer me. I just want you to think. Do you have a supportive group of friends? I'm trying to tell you, we all need people we don't feel like we have to impress, particularly and we're talking about your professional success, but we got to start by building a solid core. So first question is, how would you describe your current ecosystem of family and personal friends? Just take a minute and just capture some notes. However you would describe it to somebody else. If I asked you about this ecosystem, are you on good terms with your family, or is there a constant friction? Do you have some personal friends, or are they just acquaintances? And I got to tell you, as this is really tough for a lot of men, right? Because we don't, and I'm painting with a very broad brush, but a lot of us don't want to get, hugging is not in our agenda, right? So we may not have a lot of close personal friends. And I'm trying to tell you, that's a void. That's a missed opportunity, because we all need a sounding board. We all need people that we can bounce ideas off of. So take a second and just capture some thoughts. If you have the handout, great. Love that. Charles, thank you for jumping in. We can't embark on leadership without regular time for reflection, forethought. Absolutely. Love that. Thank you for sharing the link to the handout, Jennifer Bridges, you're awesome. Thank you. All right, so another minute or so. And then Jennifer's going to scroll. So let's keep going. So within that core, now I've got a couple other questions of you, right? What's one thing you can do to improve, stabilize, or otherwise elevate your relationships with your significant other, with your children, with your sibling? I'm trying to tell you that if that part of your world is rocky, and none of our lives are perfect, right? Let's be honest. But if that part of your world is rocky, I don't know if you guys saw Bill and Melinda Gates just announced they're getting divorced after 27 years, right? And 3 grown kids. And the funniest, if there's any levity in it, there was a meme that says Mackenzie Scott, right, divorced Jeff Bezos for like several $1 billion. And then the meme said Melinda Gates says, "Hold my beer." That's terrible. That's awful, right? But that doesn't happen overnight, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is if that stability isn't in your home life, with your kids, with your significant other, with siblings, it's going to be very difficult for you to show up at your best at work. So I'm a big believer of one thing. Do one thing exceptionally well. I keep asking my kids on a regular basis, what's the one thing that I could do to be a better dad? Right? And I just think that might be a really useful question if you're not asking that. Question 3, how about your few authentic friendships? Do you have real close friends whom you feel like you don't have to impress? Can you openly share your struggles, your challenges, your opportunities? Why or why not? Right? So one of the biggest challenges through this pandemic has been our inability to get together in person with our close friends. I'm starting to slowly do that. And I tell people I've been vaccinated twice, and I'm meeting more and more people for coffee and lunches and those visits because it refills our cup. As human beings, we're tactile. We need that, right? 4, do you feel loved, supported? Do you feel like you're eager to learn and grow? Do you consistently demonstrate gratitude towards others? Again, I'm not trying to make this session all about touchy-feely. I'm just trying to tell you, as the core component, if this stuff is missing, and I coach a lot of leaders that I'm trying to tell you, you start to peel back the onion of like this person is really kind of butting heads with people at work. Well, you know what? Because he's miserable at home. And right now is working from home. So that misery at work kind of transfers over to work. And have you seen people blow up at somebody else that had nothing to do with anything? You're like, wait, where did that come from? It happens all the time. There's a different part of our life that's just awful. And we just kind of put on that tough skin and we kind of go through the day, and then we kind of becomes a volcano and blow up at somebody else. And I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. There's a reason the airline safety videos tell us to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first before we help somebody else. You want to elevate your personal market value, you have to start with a healthy self. You know you better than anybody else knows you on this call, certainly. You got to get that core right. Let's do this. Jen, if you could stop sharing your screen, I'm going to create a handful of breakout rooms. And what I want you to do is just talk about that core for a second. So I'm on a small groups. Please be active. Please participate. Just talk about that core idea. If you've got the handout, this is just about, maybe the importance of the core or examples of others, that have a really strong core, other project management professionals, and it shows in how they show up. And then some that are struggling, right? We learn a lot through others we observe. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the breakout room. Let's just do 5 minutes. And I want you to, everybody, I know you've got great experiences. I know you've done some really amazing things as a seasoned group. Just talk about the value of that core for a second. So I'm going to randomly open all the rooms. Go ahead and jump in one of the breakout rooms, please. 3 to 4 people per room. 5 minutes. Go ahead and jump in if you could. Kelly and Kenneth, thank you. Brandon, CW, Dean, perfect. CW, Brandon, Kenneth, Kelly, thank you. Good. CW, Kelly. If you guys could kindly jump into a breakout room, that'd be great. Kelly, I want to make sure you're there, joined us. If you could jump into a breakout room, that'd be great. Denise and Charmaine are waiting for you there. Kelly, I don't know if you can hear me, but if you're able to join a breakout room, Denise and Charmaine are waiting for you there. So beyond that, the core, right? There's four questions there. Next area is personal. Now, it'd be very easy to ask, well, wait, how is core different than personal? It's really your personal as much mindset. So I want you to write in the margins for me, mindset. And underneath that, I want you to think of three things: growth, digital, and entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial. I wrote about it in the book. And personal is all about how do you think? How do you approach your growth, that journey? And it's got to be a growth mindset. It's got to be a digital mindset. It's got to be an entrepreneurial one. So question 5 says, how would you describe your learning preference? We all have one. I'm tactile. I need to see it. I need to feel it. I need to write it down. I need to capture it. I take diligent notes. I need to, in essence, immerse myself in that experience. That's how I learn. You probably learn very differently than I do, but you have to understand what's your preference? And then how consistently would you say you invest in that learning and growth? Because I'm going to use a motorcycle analogy that I think will resonate with you, right? Some people say, I live to ride. Dude, I love riding. And then the odometer on their motorcycle says 300 miles. Right? You see how the disconnect, right? People say, I love learning. I'm all about learning. And okay, so when's the last time you took an executive education class? Or when's the last time you immersed yourself into something like this? And then there's crickets. So we can all say it, but do you actually show up? And do you invest in that person? By the way, I've said that investment is something nobody can ever take away from you. So that growth mindset is critical. And by the way, where have you found the biggest ROI? Because I can't afford to invest blindly. I refuse to do that. So if I invest time, effort into some sort of growth journey, I need to see a return on that investment, right? And if you're not thinking about that ROI, I think it's a missed opportunity. 6, how would you describe your faith? Now, this is not a, and I wrote it beyond any particular religion. How important is faith in your family growing up? And this isn't about going to church or mosque or synagogue. This is about, do you have a deeper sense of belief in something? Because again, I'm trying to tell you, I've got clients that are successful executives. One of them will make $1.6 million this year in salary and bonus. And the guy, there's something missing in his life. And the other day, I invited him to an online church session last Sunday. Jennifer and I both know Andy Stanley and the High Tech Ministries. The North Point Ministries. And Andy just had an amazing Easter message. And I invited, I said, hey, just come watch this with me. You would think I've shown him, how to get to moon. Just because it wasn't about religion. It was about faith. And this isn't a faith point. But again, how important is faith in your family growing up? What are you doing to pass it on to if you got kids or others, right? So I think that's a critical one that, again, it may be taboo. We don't talk about it at work. I'm trying to tell you from a foundational standpoint, it's important. It's important to kind of reconnect, re-engage. I belong to something called men's fraternity. Interestingly enough, it's at our kids' school. You guys are going to cringe. 6 a.m.s on Friday. Oh, my Lord. Getting up and getting out to the kids' school at 6 a.m. You're like, are you kidding me? The good news is, ladies, none of us care what we look like. As long as we don't smell, right? We just throw on a baseball cap and we just show up, right? And nobody's judging how you look. And we sit around, and one of the dads has a Chick-fil-A franchise, and he brings Chick-fil-A sandwiches, and they ask for volunteers, and some of our spouses are saints, and we'll take in quiche or we'll take in whatever food. And it's actually a program, and we sit and talk about it, and we pray before we leave. And I've gotten to know some really cool dads through that program. And then this global pandemic happened, and it put a squash on it. And we try to take it online, and some of the stuff works, some of the stuff doesn't. But I can't wait to get back. And it's cringeworthy to kind of get out there that early in the morning. I mean, I'm up early anyway, but it's just, it refills your cup. That's my point there. All right, let's keep going. 7, what are some of your favorite what are some of your unshakable values? What are some of those non-negotiable principles? Again, I'm trying to tell you, I wrote this through research and through interviews. I am right now coaching a senior executive who is in the wrong job in the wrong company. You want to know why? Their values aren't aligned. Their values aren't aligned. Doesn't matter how competent or capable he is miserable. You want to grow? You want to increase your market value? Figure out, are your values aligned with your organization? If they're not, you got 2 choices and 2 choices only. Either your values are going to shift to what the company's trying to do, or you're going to go do something else. But it's like one of those really toxic relationships that if nobody says anything, everything's going to be fine. Yeah, but are you really going to be happy? And I think one of the things we figured out through this pandemic is that alignment is really important, right? Who's holding you accountable to those principles? Who's holding you accountable, right? 8, do you have a set of guardrails? Do you have a set of guardrails that guide your direction and destination? I won't do this. I'm not going to do that. Those are my guardrails. Again, this is a very individual choice, right? If you have some, great. Where do they come from? If you don't, where could you embrace them from, right? Any questions on personal? That's about your mindset. That's about your spiritual grounding. That's about unshakable set of values. Moving on. If there's no questions, let me look. Faith is something is what grounds and aligns us. Agreed. Denise, absolutely. Charles, amen. Mark, I think this is an important question, especially if you have been through big changes, struggles, find faith and community to support all the areas of your life. Glad to see a reflection point around it. Absolutely, Mark. Great point. Mark, great point. And thanks for jumping in the chat with others. All right. Next is professional. This is all about, first and foremost, acumen. I described in the book acumen as blending of the knowledge and skill guided by experience. Skill is I know how to do something. Knowledge is what I learned by doing it. Experience is now I know what works and what doesn't and how to do it better, more efficiently. The more of that you do, the more acumen you develop. So again, I know this. I'm asking you, how would you describe your professional acumen? A really good example, and again, I do this in my coaching. If I went and randomly spoke to a half a dozen people who know you, how would they describe your acumen? And how do you know? You want to increase your market value? Raise the bar on your acumen. Raise the bar on your professional acumen. And we're building several courses in the community on financial acumen, right? It's amazing how many people I meet who want to lead a P&L, but they don't really understand a P&L. Well, how can you do that if you don't, and if you haven't had any back? And most of us are not, you may be an accountant, I'm not. But you know what? I had to quickly figure out what a P&L is, how it works, what are the levers that I have to work with, which leads me to question 10. Of the several shared examples on page 36 of the book, financial literacy, organizational kind of knowledge dynamics, ability to deal with ambiguity, framing of cause and effect, self and stakeholder awareness, contextual relevancy. Which one would you say is your biggest strength? I'm on number 10. Which one is your biggest weakness? Right? Which one is your biggest strength? Which one is your biggest weakness? Now, the tendency is to say, well, I got to go shore up the weakness. Not necessarily. One opportunity could be double down on the strength. I'm going to go be really good at that and surround myself with others that are going to shore up my weakness. Do you really want to go back to MIT and get a 4-year degree on computer science, or do you just need to work with somebody who gets how to translate your business needs into that technology solution, right? 11, how would others describe your professional presence? Your professional presence. How do you carry yourself? Your command of the English language, your behavior, your decorum. One of the things I do in my coaching, can you separate emotions from your decision making? That's part of that professional presence, professional acumen, right? Let's go to the next one, 12 on the next page. How do you feel about your willingness to stay on that one? If you could, yeah, go back to the top of the page, Jen, if you could. How do you feel about your willingness to experience discomfort, risk, uncertainty in doing difficult things? If you were joined us for one of the content sessions, we had Peter Bregman, right? You remember he made us all dance, and right, what a fantastic session Peter was. Peter has written a great book called Leading with Emotional Courage. And I quoted in Curve Benders, I talk about if you're not willing, and this is, I give Peter credit for this, if you're not willing to feel all of that, soon you're not going to feel any of it. So the point is not to feel, is not to feel anger or disappointment or hurt in your projects, in your colleagues, in situations. It's okay to be mad at the world. You cannot tie that to your decision making. You may want to write this down. This is a big coaching, Nour coaching tip. You ready? I got nuggets coming at you right now. I got a nugget coming at you right now. You ready? Don't be temporarily stupid. Sorry, don't get permanently stupid because you're temporarily upset. Don't get permanently stupid because you're temporarily upset. What I'm trying to say is don't cut your nose to spite your face. Don't make a really bad decision because you're mad at someone or mad at a decision. One of my clients did not get what she was after from the CEO. Told the CEO, you might as well fire me now. Take a wild guess of what he did. There's the door. Did I mention they're planning their IPO and they're working towards an IPO in 12 to 18 months? You don't have to go through too many of these not to ever have to work again. Right? So I get it. She was upset. But don't get permanently stupid because you're temporarily upset. That's a sign to think about disconnecting your emotions from your decision making. By the way, from your communication, from your problem solving. It's okay to feel anger. It's okay to feel disappointment, but disconnect that from where we go, right? So, as you can imagine, all of that has been the foundational ring. So for sake of time, and Jennifer's right, we always have more content than we have time. Next area I call value accelerants. So value accelerants, same thing, 3 areas: financial, relational, and brand. So in financial, I ask about what has been the financial highlight of your career thus far. These are going to accelerate your value. These are going to get you tapped into. When you demonstrate these, leaders I work with, leaders I coach, look for these things in people they tap into to lead key initiatives. They tap into these individuals who demonstrate these as strengths. So as I created this handout, as I wrote this book, in our research, in our interviews, I asked them, what does that mean? What does that look like? So here you go. They want to know what financial highlight. One of the things project management professionals that I've met do are focusing on the output. You may want to write this down somewhere. Output is important, not nearly as impactful as outcome. And most outcomes are typically quantifiable financial outcomes. So 13, what has been the financial highlight of your career? 14, what's been your compensation, lows and highs? You want to find a range. I've made $3 an hour as an adult, working construction, working as a lifeguard, not as a teenager, as an adult. I've worked graveyard shift. First job on a factory floor. We were assembling hot glue guns. You ready? Big money, $8 an hour. And I've been blessed to make over $1 million in a year. So that's my range, right? $3 an hour to $1 million a year. Great. So what quantifiable outcomes did you directly correlate your highest compensation level with? So I've always believed your compensation should be directly relevant to the enterprise value that you create, the outcomes you create. And one of the things I want you to fight for yourself, believe in yourself, go stand up for yourself, is the value that you create and compensation for that value. By the way, I always believe in performance-based compensation. Was there a question or comment? Does somebody want to jump in? Yeah. So Denise, absolutely. You also can work, for gratis for nonprofits. So the impact there is, I get it. The impact there is, how many lives did you touch? How many, people you fed? How many? It's not just financial. That's not the point. I'm looking for outcomes. I'm looking for the impact of your work, not just I did the work. Okay, great. You made 10,000 sandwiches. How many, right? How many people did we get off the homelessness track, right? So that's what I'm after, the outcome, right? Go to the next one if you could. There you go, 15. Have you ever been responsible for P&L? If so, what were the highlights? If not, what has to happen for you to reach that? It's not about the P&L. It's about the authority, the accountability, the responsibility to lead and be responsible for both the top line and the bottom line. That's 15. 16, have you ever raised capital? Been involved with debt financing, exit event? The reason those things matter is they highlight your financial acumen. More increasingly, leaders are looking for people who get it. If you don't get it, that's okay. As I said, we're building several courses around financial literacy, financial acumen. It is not an easy topic. It's not a topic most people are comfortable with. A lot of people, hey, I went into sales, so I wouldn't, I have to deal with the numbers. Guess what? Numbers are pervasive in all of our lives, particularly if you aspire to get to that next level. You're going to have P&L responsibility, right? You're going to have to certainly understand it. And it's a chicken and egg, right? Some jobs want you to have P&L responsibility. Other jobs, like, how do I get the next job if I can't get a chance to do that? Your best opportunities within your existing organization, right, is to increasingly increase those opportunities. So you get the rest, right? Jen, if you could slowly scroll down. Hold on right there. So relational, we actually have a relationship economics quiz. Jen, can you click on that link? If not, I'll put it, there's a quiz on our website. I said, if you can take that quiz, that's a hyperlink in the document. I'll make sure that we have that quiz. As a matter of fact, Jen, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat now. If you get a chance, take that quiz, because what I do is I give you, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and click on it, and it opens it up right here. And here you go. It's in the no reason for the hostility, you
Do you
people.
want to share your screen?
No, I do
Okay.
not want to share my screen.
Okay.
No, I do not want to share.
We'll stay in suspense.
Yeah, so I just put it in chat. I put it in chat. That's a relationship economics quiz. You can also get through our website, but that's just a direct link. When you get a chance, take it. It only takes a few minutes. There you go, Jen. Thank you. It only takes a few minutes. You can see there's a handful of questions I ask about how you feel about relationships. And that's directly related to the relational part. So Jen, let's go back to the document, the handout. Let's keep going. So the relational part talks about, and again, I'm creating an environment for you to reflect, right? And really ask yourself some great questions. 2C is about brand. 2C, scroll down a little bit. There you go. So 21, what are the 3 brand attributes you want your personal, professional brand to be associated with? It's very easy for you to say, I want to be a compassionate leader. That's great. Are you living that every day? Or is that just something you read that you think is interesting? Right? If I were to randomly ask a dozen people you know, would they use the same brand attributes you used? Because you know what? I want to be George Clooney. Doesn't mean I'm George Clooney or look anything like him. That got Denise's attention. She's like, wait, what? George Clooney? Where? Right? So there's a lot of things we all want for ourselves. Is that really how you show up? Is that how your colleagues would say you show up? Right? So what are some of the examples on 23? How you're living your brand promise every day? And how are you turning that into brand equity? 24, what's the one brand attribute you most likely enhance, elevate, or otherwise eliminate? You can't do anything about things you don't measure. What's the one brand attribute you want to enhance, you want to elevate as a project management professional, or you want to eliminate? You know what? I've got a reputation for being a hard ass. That's probably not serving me well. That's something I want to work on to kind of reduce. Doesn't mean I don't want execution or performance or results, but the way I do that is probably not serving me well. That would be a really smart thing for you to capture if that's how you're driven, right? Last but not least, the next section I call growth enablers. So Jen, hang out here a second. 3 sections. Again, resilience. That's all been tested for every one of us in the last 14 months. How resilient are you really? By the way, newsflash, we also have a resilience assessment. We have a resilient assessment that I'm putting in the chat right now. Look at the bonuses you get from this course are just ridiculous. There you go. There's the crisis resilience quotient assessment. We've been busy building. There's a cool video right there from Nour. And then if you scroll down, there's a good assessment you can take. We'll put that in the session as well for you. Right, to scroll down, there you go. There's also sections of that crisis resilience. It asks you a lot about your preparedness for crisis, not just this one, but any of them. Let's go back to the handout. So growth enablers really allow you to get elevated to that next level. So resilience, relevance is all about identifying trends, embracing them, learning from them, applying them in your world. And then that S curve is all about your evolution and all about your reinvention. So there's questions in this section. Jen, go ahead and scroll down to the next section. Go ahead and scroll down. You'll see a reflection in your journey from now to next, starting on 37. So we've been thinking a lot about where you are today. I want you to extrapolate your role, your possibilities, responsibilities forward. I want you to make the time to think, where will you be in 5 to 10 years? This is 2021. What does your world look like in 26? What does that world look like in 31? And don't tell me, oh my God, that's so far away. Right? You've seen my post. My daughter just finished year 1 of Georgia Tech, and I'm pretty sure we brought her home from the hospital yesterday. Next 5 years will fly by. Jennifer remembers them as little bitty kids, and Justice is now 6'2".
Yeah.
Right? That time will fly by. You cannot know where you're going if you don't make time to capture it. Where are you going? What are you doing? What lights you up? By the way, I've never believed you can light a fire under anyone because it doesn't last. It's lighting a fire within them. To make the time in 37 to really crystallize. What does that look like? What are you going to be doing? What do you want to be doing? 38. What capabilities do you believe you need most to perform, execute, deliver, show up at your best in that future version of you? So let's just say in 5 years, you want to be a vice president, as an example. Great. What capabilities will you need to succeed as that VP in that position? Let's identify them now. I want to know what that next looks like. Go to the next one, Jen, 39. Who are 3, 5, 10 most critical and relevant relationships in that journey? Who do you know and why do you believe they're most important relationship investments you can make? If you want to be a vice president, I want to know other vice presidents. And I want to point blank ask, how did you get there? What does that look like? What do I need to do? Do I need to go get an MBA? That's what I'm going to go do now. Conversely, I'm trying to tell you, I've got several vice president clients and friends who are leaving the corporate job. And are you ready? They're buying franchises. They're becoming business owners. Why? They don't want to get back on that corporate grind. Oh my Lord, you want me to commute an hour and a half each way for what? They're just, this pandemic has refreshed, recalibrated a lot of our kind of personal aspirations and things that we're just not that excited about. Gene, were you sharing that with us or no? Maybe not. Okay. So 40, what has to happen for you to create an intentional roadmap in your personal market value growth? You know you better than anybody else knows you. What has to happen for you to do that? So download this, please. Make the time to go through it. That's how, Jen, let's go back to the course real quick. We're going to go back to the course.
Hang on a second. Okay, let's see.
Just, yeah, that's for everybody. Just go to Nour, yeah, nourgroup.com/forum. That's the easiest way to just type it in the URL. nourgroup.com/forum. /forum. There you go. Nour group. Okay. This is another way you can go. Yeah. There you go. First one. Good. That's another way you can get there. Or just, again, bookmark the page. Left-hand side, courses. Curve benders. There you go. Next, left-hand side, table of contents. Third section is learning sprint. First lesson is your personal market value. Click on that. Everything I just shared with you is right here, right? There's the framework. There's the handout. There's questions, word of caution. So what I'm hoping is you'll scroll down and in the comments section at the bottom right there, share your questions, share your comments. Here's my request of you. You want bonus points? You want bonus points, right? Share us, write out your answers if you want. Share your PDF. Share some notes. Share some ideas. We're all going to learn and grow through this journey there. So, apologize, we ran a couple minutes over. Next time, we don't have to do as much housekeeping because you know hopefully where to go and how to get here and on how to do all that. I'm in that community every day. Jennifer's there every day. Please do not suffer in silence. If you have questions, jump in. If you have comments, jump in. If you have clarifying questions, jump in. I already know this stuff. The goal is to help. The goal is to serve you. So I'm grateful for your investment in the book. The bonus is, as promised, a lot of great content. I'm going to say what I said earlier. You will get out of it what you put into it. So read the material, jump in with questions, and I'm happy to help any way I can. So before we wrap up, questions, comments?
Any
anything?
reactions, hearts, thumbs up, questions?
Good. You can stop sharing your screen, Jen, if you want. Good information, too much information, not enough information. I was bored. I'm drinking from the fire hose.
This is perfect.
Good. Thank you. Carolyn, how you feeling? Unmute yourself. Want a quick, good. Brandon, what's happening? How you feeling?
Yes,
Good.
Brandon. Okay.
Mark in Colorado. How you feeling?
I can't wait to jump in and immerse myself.
Love it. Denise.
Love it. Yeah, lot of great stuff, but a lot of, I think, focused reflection needs to be had to really get the value.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk more about that. Jerry, your
Yeah,
thoughts?
no, a lot of great ideas. Like where you're going here, just gotta allocate the time, like you say, reflecting and growing this way.
I don't know about you. If I don't block it on my calendar, it doesn't happen, right? We're all busy. Dr. G, how you feel?
Viva curve benders!
You all, I got to tell you, I called Jennifer Bridges the other day. She was like, don't even start telling me I haven't been a curve bender in your life. So I'm going to get that printed in a shirt, right? Don't even start with me that I haven't been a curve bender in your life.
Right. Okay.
Right? All right, Chris Simmons, how you feel? Yeah, unmute. Good.
Yeah, gotta find a mute button. Now I've been used to being a mute in a lot of situations. But this is good, it's balanced, and it is something to really reflect on. It's not a casual consideration here.
Good.
Pretty deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Dean.
I'm
Very,
good.
very enjoyable. It's something I haven't had really the time to reflect on, and I need to reflect on myself more and learning more. It's the job's just been so busy that it's just been going 120 miles an hour, and I need to really reflect a little bit more. So this is good.
Let me close with this. I meet a lot of people who are sharpening the machete and they're cutting down a lot of trees and they're never coming up and asking, am I in the right jungle? That's what I want for you. Think of this pandemic beyond the lives and the livelihoods as an impetus, as a springboard for that reflection, for that growth. You have more market value than you know. You have more market value than you believe. I've talked to 8 executives in the last week alone. They cannot find enough quality people. They're getting ready for this massive renaissance, massive push as people get vaccinated, as we get back together, as we get back in some ways to the office, as we figure out how to do this hybrid world stuff. You're more valuable than you give yourself credit for. This course, this chance, this time is the opportunity to really reflect on that. So on that note, thank you for coming. Dr. G raised your hand. Yes, sir.
It's been estimated, Nour, that there will be over $10 trillion worth of reinvestment in new projects and programs that need to be launched to rebuild the world's economy because of this pandemic. And that means a huge demand for project and program managers who are on their A game. So getting the most out of these curve benders courses is incumbent upon each of us if we want to be in that game.
Unequivocally, yes. Thank you. And help each other. I can't, if you come to this course with a heart of giving, it's amazing what you'll get in return. So don't just be a passive consumer of this stuff. I know you're busy, but this is 1 hour a week for 2-3 weeks and you already bought the book, right? So this is a bonus. Come learn, come immerse yourself. If you do the work, I think you'll be pleased with the results. Claire, yeah, there's a lot of project management work that these executives are looking for. One client is rolling out a massive SAP system. Another client is rolling out a big cloud project. So a lot of technology, a lot of HR systems. I was talking to a company called ServiceNow. They've got a platform that enables this whole coming back to work. So people go and log in how healthy they feel, and they're reserving spaces in their offices to meet with several other people. And it's fascinating. And they're looking for trainers. They're looking for how to help these companies come back in stronger. I talked to a CEO of a company called Augmenteer. They've got a virtual reality, augmented reality field service. So think of a seasoned service technician is in an office. A younger field service technician is out in the field. And with these glasses, they can actually overlay what I should be looking at and what I should be doing. That's their technology. They can't find enough people. Geography, many jobs, geography doesn't matter anymore. More and more jobs say remote optional. So you could live wherever you want. A lot of these works you can do remotely. So I talked to another executive who's got 3 executives who've joined them during the pandemic. They've never met. All their interactions have been online. So I'm going to build on Dr. G's comment. A lot of opportunities. You've got more market value than you believe you do. You just got to make time to reflect, to really think about some of these things. And we're going to build on it. So thanks for coming. Just as a quick reminder, next Tuesday in the community on the left-hand side, events. The next one is around this idea of a growth grid. Same idea. I'm going to create a handout in advance of the session. Please download it. And the growth grid is going to walk you through how to solve complex challenges and opportunities. On that note, go have a great rest of your week. Jennifer and I are in the community. Would love to see you. Come be a part of the continued conversation on this topic. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Nora. Nice job.
Bye.
My
Good
pleasure.
job.
Well done.
My pleasure.